All right, we've got the 250 XC down here. Make sure you guys can see that. We're going to be adding new graphics to it. We've already taken the old plastics off. New plastics are on the bike. We've already used contact cleaner to get all the shine off them, and we're going to apply them. So I'll show you step by step how I get this done. All right, full disclaimer, I usually pawn this job off to anybody else who's going to do it. My friend Tina out west, she's done pretty much every bike I've handed to her. She doesn't live here, so I have to do this myself. But aren't these beautiful? Oh, I'm so excited. All right, so I've cleaned the number plate with contact cleaner. I've got my heat gun. I'm going to work with the number plate first, and I'm going to apply it. I'll let you see. I'll film that. We'll go from there. All right. All right. Just work in sections. It all went on without any bubbles, and then just use a little heat to get the edges down to make sure they stay. There we go. No wrinkles, looking good. Now we have to put my name on here. This should be pretty easy. So, like you saw in the last, I just make sure I line it all up, and then I just go section by section to get it done. All right, we'll go from here. Can always just work it up a bit and then put it down. Work out any bubbles, if there is any. Always work from the inside out. And that's probably the coolest number plate I've ever had. Some heat. If you don't have a heat gun, use a blow dryer. I did see a guy on YouTube use a torch. It's a little bit above my skill set. Oh my gosh, this does look pretty great. All right, it's the coolest number plate I've ever had. The reason I'm doing most of the graphics on the bike is because there's a lot of images that go across and I want to make sure I can line them up perfectly on the bike. If I do them off the bike and then I go put the old plastics on the bike, it might not look very good. So that's what I'll be doing. I do have the fork covers here to do, so I'll do those next. Same thing, just line it up in the middle. Make sure all the pieces fit. You have the right pieces in your hand. All right. So just make sure these all fit. So here's my fork. All right, so these you can see are pretty stiff. So I'm gonna heat these up so it'll be able to bend around the fork. And then I'll work it on. And these ones are kind of neat. They're flat, not gloss, but I did wipe them down with contact cleaner anyways, just in case there's any extra residue on there. All right, follow along while I attempt this one. That's where there's a seam in the plastic, as you can see there, and it's got to really work it over that lip. I don't like to use too much heat. In the past, I got excited, used a lot of heat, ended up with a lot of bubbles, and then plastic that was too malleable to do anything with. So, learned my lesson there. All right. This is just a, it actually came with my mountain bike for a wrap that's on it, a clear one. So I scratch everything I own, but it works really good to just push and work this in like a large area. Let's see how we go here. Right. There. Just needed a little heat to get it over that piece here. Look at that. Might not be the quickest, but I did a good job. All right, just a little heat around the edges here to make sure it doesn't lift. No bubbles. Pretty cool looking fork cover. Fork guard. All right, so we've got one fork done. Start off with the number plate, the easiest part. I'll do the other fork off camera here and then we'll go over to the bike and I'll show you how to start putting those on there. It's pretty much the exact same thing with just larger pieces. Yeah, so I'll just do this off camera and we'll go over there and you'll see that. It looks pretty cool. So if anyone's curious who made my awesome graphics, by the way, quick, you should check them out. They're out in Reno, Nevada, doing some good work. All right, just to like really show what I do, I take this, I fold back the backing just a little bit. I work in really small sections because I'm pretty sloppy. And if I tear this whole thing off and try to line it up, it's just gonna go bad. So that's what I do. And then I put it on and I'll line it up on the plastic where it needs to be. And then I start working my way out from there. So, all right, we're gonna be doing the front of the bike here. I'm gonna line up the nose. I guess the nose, the tip here, and this back piece, and then work it from the center down, and then these side pieces usually just line up. So that is my plan here. And then on the side graphics, I'll show you what I'm going to do there. All right, for the side graphics, let me get all these out of the way. These larger side panels, so many of them. We're gonna take the back here, and with a razor blade, we're gonna cut, if you can see that. All right, we're gonna cut from here to here and tear the backing back a bit. So, let's see if I have a way to mark it. I'm gonna draw a line. Essentially, out here to the back, I'm going to cut this and then fold my backing this way and that way so that I can work from the center out. All right, we're gonna cut from here to here, kind of a strip. Obviously I didn't use a ruler this time, but it's my rear number, and I wanna work it from where it wraps around the bike out. So I'm going to take a knife very gently and cut this. All right, so we want to cut, make sure this is all nice and tight, from here to there. Let's see if I actually made it through. We did! Make sure not to push too hard, because the last thing you want to do is cut your graphics. All right. Apparently my second one sucks, but that's okay. We'll just fold this back. There we go. All right. All right, you can see that. That'll allow this to wrap around the bike now. This piece is going to go here. And I've drawn that line almost where you can see the shading, which you can't see on the phone, but essentially from that rear bolt hole to the corner, because that'll wrap around the bike. All right, we've got almost the right side done. We have the big section on the right hand side to do. We're going to do the same thing. I've already marked this one where I'm going to cut it so that we can line it up on the bike and then work our way up and down to keep it from wrinkling. There's a little bit more going on this side that I have to make sure I line up, and this is why I put the bike with the plastics together so that I could visually see how I wanted everything to line up. So let me move this down here. You can see here that there's a logo. I don't know if you can actually see that, but see it says Shredstone, and I've got to line up the lower half of the graphic and the center half to make it look like some sort of a design. So I'm just going to double check that my line is where I want it. All right, I kind of want it a little lower, so I'm just gonna run into my line right there. Now, very carefully, oh, that cut it. There we go. I do this really gently because I don't want to cut the graphic, and I have very bad luck with stuff like that. All right, maybe I went a little too gently. All right, there we go. All right. Got it through. So I'm just going to cut two parallel to each other. All right. There we go. Well, there we go. A little too gentle. That's okay. Perfect. graphic is still intact. So I can actually stick this to the bike now. So that's good. All right. To the bike I go. All right, you can see here, it's just sitting on the bike, but because I cut that seam in the center of the graphic, it allows me to work the graphic this way and work it down without committing to like trying to work it from the nose in. And it's really good to follow like the contour of your bike. Just makes everything a lot easier. And here are the pieces I was mentioning that I'm going to have to actually line up to make the logo look complete. And that's why I decided to put the plastics on the bike to start. And actually, if you're doing this by yourself, it's a lot easier than having them flop around on your table. We've got all the graphics on here. I actually managed to pull this off with no bubbles.